Hey, coin collectors, and welcome to DC Coin Roll International Coin Channel. And let's take a look at this coin from 2015 from the United States of America. And let's talk a little bit about the history of it. In September and October of 1777, the U.S. forces battled the British forces of General Burgoyne in or near Saratoga, New York. The British soldiers, along with their hired German troops, had marched down from Canada to New York to meet with British forces approaching New York from the west and south. And of course, what happened was they never got to meet them. And so General Burgoyne was kind of stuck there on his own. So let's talk about these quarters, and let's talk about why these battles were important, and let's talk about why 238 years later, the um, United States issued these Saratoga National Historical Park quarters. So you can see these quarters. These quarters these days get really, really kind of chopped up, and it's just hard to kind of see them. If we look at this one though, we can see it has a standard, what is now a standard design. It says United States of America on the top, Liberty in front of George Washington, and behind him it says "In God We Trust." There's a D here, and those of you who know the American United States mints know that's for the Denver Mint. And then down here it says $quarter. Again, nowhere on this coin does it say it's worth 25 cents. It's worth $1/4. And then if we turn this over, we see that this is clearly a copper nickel clad copper coin, or cupro nickel cladding, and we can see the copper on the inside of the coin. This one here is slightly different in that it has a P on it here for the Philadelphia Mint. Now, these coins do have uh, initials on them, and so let's take a look at the initials of the engraver. Uh, and the initials right here, if you can see, let's see if we can, you can see a J and an F there. And so this J and the F stands for John Flanagan, who had originally designed this coin, engraved this coin in the 30s. Now, this particular engraving here was a redo by the engraver William Cousins. And why did he have to redo it? Well, because when they changed the America Beautiful quarters, they actually took the year off the quarter and they changed the what it said on the front. So the older quarters had the year on the quarter, like right down here, and it said $quarter on the back. The William Cousins uh, changed to the America Beautiful quarters, put the year on the back, and that's what we have here. There we go. Saratoga, it says at the top. Now, the Beautiful quarters, they tried to have a bunch of them in all these different states. This was actually the 6th year that they produced the America the Beautiful quarters. They first came out in 2010. Their plan was to produce 5 of them a year, and actually the last of them are going to come out this year. There's a Vermont one coming out pretty soon, I think. So it says Saratoga at the top, says New York here, says British surrender 1777. Over here is our E pluribus unum, no eagle on the back, you'll notice. And right here you see a 2015. And then way down at the bottom we see 2 different sets of initials here. We see a BF here, and the BF on the actual sword that we're looking at, that's Barbara Fox. And Barbara Fox is listed as in different cases. In some cases, they list Barbara Fox as the um, engraver, and then some cases they list her as the designer. And the other initials here are in a G, and that's Renata Gordon. In some cases, they list her as the engraver. In some cases, they list her as a sculptor or the medallic artist. So, 2 different engravers, designers on the back. And then here we see a hand reaching, and this is, of course, from the colonial army, the United States Army. And then we see a hand giving up the sword, and that, of course, is General Burgoyne handing his sword over in 1777 to General Gates. Now, what else happened at this battle? Well, One of the things that happened at the battle was that George Washington, fearing the worst, had sent his one of his best generals to Saratoga, and that general was Benedict Arnold. So Benedict Arnold was one of the heroes of the Battle of Saratoga and was actually shot in the leg when he, some people say he wasn't supposed to, some people say he was okay to, went out to lead the troops and got shot in the leg. And actually, maybe that led to what he did later. So those of you who know Benedict Arnold know that he was America's greatest traitor also. So even though he helped win the Revolutionary War, um, after the war he started conspiring with the British and uh, actually gave them help. Uh, and did the British surrender? Well, they surrendered this battle. So, even though this says the British surrendered, the war didn't end in 1777. The war kept going for years. And uh, General Gates, who won this battle, actually got routed in another battle later on, and with his command was taken away from him. Uh, the British didn't actually surrender or enter into peace with the United States until after 1812. So the British surrendered in this battle, but they kept fighting, and then they withdrew their troops, and then they came back again in the early 1800s to fight again. They burned down the city of Washington, uh, the United States Capitol in Dolly Madison had to run out with all the china and the possessions of the White House before it burned. So we have kind of this weird story, and it's kind of a funny story, but it is not a surrender of the whole war. It's just a surrender of the troops. And we're sorry to those of you Brits who watch this, but those things happen. And the United Kingdom and the United States have a great relationship these days. So let's not worry too much about that. How many of these coins did they make? Well, as I said, it's a cupro nickel or copper nickel clad copper coin. Um, and they made them at the Philadelphia Mint. Let's take a look at that again. Uh, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. So these are the mint marks here. At the Denver Mint, they made 216 million of them. So they made plenty. This is not going to ever be a valuable quarter. At the Philadelphia Mint, they made 223 million. And then the ones you might want to collect are the ones that are going to be the proof or the year sets. And those are the 2015 S. It's just, you see an S here. You probably know just because it'll be buffed differently. If you see an S, you want to collect that. That's worth between $1 and $3. And if you see a proof coin, that's worth probably $3 to $5 for the 2015 S or San Francisco Mint proof coin. The mints in the United States, there are three. There have been four. So there's Philadelphia, which actually started in 1792 to mint coins. There's Denver, which started in 1906 to mint coins. There's San Francisco, the S, which started in 1854 minting coins. And then, of course, some of you have seen on the dollars, there's a C for Carson City, Nevada, which minted some of those silver American dollars. All right, well, that's all we have today. And we'd love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you might have in the comments section. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And best of health to everybody out there. And hopefully you're doing well fighting this corona.